Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're not new here, my name is Megan Alisa and I am a trained evidential psychic medium. And if you are new here, stay a while. If you've already subscribed to my channel and are used to seeing my content, you may have noticed I have a new camera. Yay! So my plan is to make a lot more content for my channel here on YouTube. I have a lot of content on TikTok, but I think it's time to go a little deeper with the information so that you can get a better understanding and, hang out with me here on YouTube as well. So on my channel, I typically talk about mediumship and psychic abilities and development. I also talk about the spirit world, spirituality, and paranormal investigations. Yes, that's right. I am diving into paranormal investigations today, actually, and what you should be looking for when you're watching shows on TV or here on YouTube. That's my dog, Sadie, behind me. Say hi, Sadie. Good job. I'm also going to be sharing some paranormal investigations I will be doing here on my channel, so stay tuned for those. And make sure you have liked and subscribed to my channel and hit the little bell so you get notified of when I have new videos out. So let's dive in. You know, most paranormal investigators are not going to necessarily be trained psychic mediums like me, and I feel like I have the upper hand in that regard to not being afraid when I'm out working with the spirit world in any capacity, whether that is even in my own home or anywhere else in the world. Most paranormal investigations, if you are watching on TV, will be highly fearful because that's what ratings want, I guess. I don't know. It's something that sells. For people that aren't used to working with the spirit world regularly, let's say as a medium, you may have some fear because you may not understand fully what it is you're experiencing or why it's happening. And so that can definitely make people go into a state of fear. There's definitely a lot of shows that are like super dramatic when it comes to paranormal investigations, and they're fun to watch for sure. But I really like to look for the meat of the bones, the meat of the investigation, the evidence that is there, and not just scare tactics and, scream jumps and everything's demons and all of that stuff, because you see that a lot on these shows, unfortunately. Yep. And not only that, you know what? It's annoying because I'm fighting against it all the time. With my content, I'm trying to help people understand the spirit world and to know that there's really nothing to be afraid of. So not only are these shows, yeah, they're fun to watch, but it kind of is a thorn in my side because they're just reinstalling this fearful rhetoric about the spirit world over and over again to people on TV, and it just makes more work for me and others like me to do. But what it comes down to a lot of times is just this lack of understanding. They just don't have the training I have, and I'm sure that would be great if they were to go through development as psychic mediums, and they would, but honestly, these shows may not exist if that were the case. Now, I already can hear it coming in the comments, but what about all those investigations where people get scratched and they get attacked and they get thrown across the room and all those various things that people claim to be at the fault of spirits? Well, this is why we're talking about this today, because there's a lot of claims that get put onto the spirit world that may very well be because of a mundane reason. So a lot of times people go around their day not always being super connected to feeling in their body. So it's super easy, and I've done it myself, where you may scratch yourself or bump something or something happens where you get a bruise or a cut, a nick or whatever, and then you notice later. So what happens on paranormal investigations a lot of times is that may happen. And when you are in a state of fear, your awareness gets heightened. So you may then tune more into your body and what you're feeling because you got scared. So when that happens, you may start to notice, oh my God, I have like this burning sensation, or I have like this scratch that feels painful here all of a sudden, where you just didn't notice it was already there. So that's one possibility that I feel is a pretty strong contender for why that occurs on some paranormal investigations. And I really think it's so important that when there's any paranormal investigations that you're witnessing or you're even involved with, that we debunk first. That if you're watching something where they're not really debunking and they're not trying to come up with some sort of normal reason why that may be happening, that's a huge red flag for me. Someone that's out there doing investigative work shouldn't be going out there with a goal set that they will have something happen. They actually really need to be neutral, just like when you're doing mediumship. Being neutral about the experience, whether something happens or not, is all fine. So if you're already going out there set that your mind is going to find something, then it likely will. When I go on a paranormal investigation, I'm actually highly skeptical, and I know that is a weird thing to hear from a medium, but I am. I'm a very grounded and practical person, and I think that if you really want people to believe any evidence that you come up with, it's important to remain skeptical and have your critical thinking hat on while you're working to make sure you are doing the debunking for anything that occurs, like sounds, hot spots, cold spots, scratches, anything that is observable objectively, which is also why I like to do paranormal investigations, because you can't experience what I'm experiencing personally, subjectively, when I'm doing mediumship, except through the evidence that's coming forward for you personally. So I like to be involved in the more objective kind of evidence through the spirit box or through other kinds of paranormal phenomena happening, so that people that don't believe, that are highly skeptical, can see that kind of evidence as something to potentially change their point of view. For me, I don't need it. I know it. I don't believe in the spirit world. I know the spirit world exists because of all the experiences I've had as a medium and the kind of information that comes through for people that I never even knew existed beyond when I started to connect with their spirit and bring through so much evidence of their life that can be confirmed, and through other personal experiences. So having a more objective kind of evidence is important for a lot of people, which is exactly why the debunking part is so important for people that are highly skeptical of any kind of spirit activity, because they need to know that the people that are bringing through this evidence, one, have integrity, two, aren't out there to necessarily prove that the spirit world is there, but to debunk the things that are provable that aren't spirit, where the other things are left in the more unexplained category, so that they can take those things and see how that may change their point of view or their ideas about things, and it may not, and it may never, and that's okay too. When there's investigators out there working, again, either on TV or here on YouTube, wherever, where they're not doing those things, they're not really debunking, they've already decided that something is true, whether or not they have the evidence to back it up or not, or they're being very fearful about things, saying things are demons, which really just comes from a lack of understanding, they are doing a disservice really to the investigative work and the parapsychology field, and mediums, anybody that is interested in really finding the real evidence that's out there. It's really not helpful to have. Now, I said this in my first paranormal investigation video that I posted from the Brackenfern Manor that I was on with other mediums and paranormal investigators, which was super fun. By the way, you should watch it if you haven't. I'll just link it up here. I just don't really believe in haunted houses, but I know spirit can go anywhere. What I believe in is residual energy. I believe that anything that happens gets stored in the energy here on this plane. So when there's really big incidences that happen where there maybe is a lot of emotion or fear, any sorts of really big emotions get a little bit easier to sense, essentially. And when there are things like remodeling or, something that disturbs that energy, it can kind of bring that back out for people to pick up on. So, like I'll always say, it's like music being impressed onto a vinyl record. It sort of just plays over and over again. So that kind of energy is not spirit, intelligent consciousness energy. It's more like just an energy that's playing over. So that could be what people are picking up on when they feel like there's a haunting. When there is actual spirit interaction where it's intelligent and they can answer your questions or they can respond to things that you're saying, then that's more of a awareness of spirit being there. Now that doesn't mean they're stuck there. They can come and go as they please. They can come because you're asking them to. You're looking for communication. You're looking for proof or evidence of them being there in that space. So they're able to come and go. There's also the possibility that people's loved ones are coming forward to communicate and not necessarily somebody that lived in that space or has something involved in that space coming through. So the only way to really know that is through the kind of evidence that would come forward. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And, but you know, I think it's fun, and I know that wherever I go, I can connect with spirit. Now, whether that you may watch certain paranormal investigation shows on TV where they're actually picking up a lot on the energy that was left in that space from certain things that happened. So it's more like psychometrizing that space or items, which means you're getting information about someone's energy or something that happened there, more than having that intelligent spirit presence giving them information, because a lot of times they can't tell the difference depending on if they've had training or not. Just always remember that just because there is a psychic medium on TV or anywhere else giving information, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've been trained in any way or that the information that is coming through is always accurate, especially if it's fear-based. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the information that's coming through isn't accurate when it comes to certain aspects. Let's talk about some of my personal favorite paranormal investigation shows. And they're going to be my favorites for various reasons, not always for the investigative amazingness, but some notable ones I will say are Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters was a pretty good show. They're pretty good about debunking from what I recall. You know, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember them debunking, so that's a good one. Now, BuzzFeed Unsolved has the supernatural show here on YouTube, which unfortunately won't be continuing from what I understand, but that show's hilarious. And I like that they kind of come at it from a different angle a little bit than maybe most paranormal shows do. I just think that show's so funny, and I don't care if people don't believe in the spirit world or not. That doesn't take away from my own personal experiences in any way. So people that are like super cynical or skeptical, like Shane Madeus, those shadiacs out there, that's totally fine with me. One I started watching recently is called Ghost Brothers, which I hadn't heard of it until recently. I think it's so funny, and I think for the most part, they're fairly respectful of the spirits, sometimes not as much as I would like to see. And they are kind of fearful of the spirits, but it's still a good show. I like it. Now, of course, everyone knows Ghost Adventures. It's just a fun show to watch, but it's a lot of, this and that as demons, and that's not really my cup of tea personally, but I do like to see the different kinds of locations that they have gone to because they've been doing the show for such a long time at this point, so that's pretty amazing. I'm trying to think, I have a list here. There's so many I haven't seen, to be perfectly honest. Now, people have asked me my opinion of the Dead Files. That's not really a favorite show of mine. I'm really not into anything super fear-based. So no shade for Amy Allen, who is a psychic medium, and I don't know what her training is, if she's had any training or anything like that, but a lot of the stuff that she comes up with is so fear-based, and that is just not something I'm on board with so much. So it's not really my favorite one so much. So, whatever. That's just my opinion. I'm trying to think of what other ones here. There's just literally, I'm looking through a list. There's literally so many, and there's like so many I have not seen, like I said, but those are some that I have seen. I know that there was, what is that other show? What is that? Paranormal brain glitch, Paranormal Activity. That was a pretty good show. That was a pretty good show, I think. Wait, is that the right show? Am I completely crazy? No, that's not it. That's definitely not it. That's definitely not. That's a movie. Let's see. Paranormal ghost hunting shows. There's this show I remember watching where there's two psychic mediums that, the rescue mediums, I think it was called, or I don't know, something like that. And I don't personally believe in rescue work. I don't believe spirits are stuck anywhere. I think that they can come back to visit, or again, people are just picking up on psychic impressions in the atmosphere there. But I don't believe spirits are stuck. I believe that they're just as conscious or more conscious than we are, where we are limited in this human body. They are not. So I don't believe any spirits get stuck here or really need a human's help, where, if they're going to need help from anyone, I would imagine it would come from source consciousness or their guides, who would be much more capable of helping them than we would be. So that's just my opinion on that. But I've never personally come across any spirits that have been stuck anywhere. It's just that they come and communicate and they leave when they're done. Remember that when you are watching paranormal investigators work, whether that is here on YouTube, anywhere else, or on TV, whatever, a lot of it has to do with ratings and views. So if they're being super sensational with what they're doing, or being very fearful, very overdramatic, a lot of that is because of that. I would love to hear what your favorite paranormal shows are, or even channels on YouTube. What do you like watching? Why do you like watching them? Do you notice any of the things that I've talked about in this video, as far as making sure that they're debunking versus not debunking, or, blaming spirit on things that are just mundane happenings? Or are there lots of scary demon talk? Again, as a medium, I've never come across anything like a demon or anything that has ever tried to harm me, hurt me, nothing like that. Just remember, everything comes through your own filter and your own perspective. So if you come to an experience with previous trauma, or a strong belief system from religion, or because of paranormal shows that freaked you out, or scary movies, or what you hear from society, that will color and shape your experience. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about to do with paranormal investigations, and kind of just what to look for, red flags. Yeah. Since I've been making a lot more content for YouTube, this is your chance to ask a trained evidential psychic medium questions about development, anything to do with the spirit world, paranormal, whatever you want to refer to it as. Drop them in the comments, and I will be making videos based on your suggestions and questions. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay spooky.